Good evening, everyone. I think I'm here. There's no guarantees. It's, this has been a difficult couple of weeks here with this internet thing. So if I'm here, let me know. I think I am. So I'll say hello to some people who I believe are here. William Campbell, thanks for joining. Corliss, This Week in Rockdale. Alex, Cheryl Moulton, Charlotte, Gellert, Justin Kinney, Daniel Munoz. I think I'm live. I think I'm here. Uh, that's right. If at first you don't succeed, try and try again. And I have tried and I have here. So you know what? This is crazy. Like my internet. I had a new modem yesterday. Friday. Got everything installed and everything. Um, and everything was working great. I actually increased my speed and data and everything with the new modem and everything's working great. And then 5 minutes before I start, then I start having connection glitches and issues, and it's just you can't make this stuff up, right? And just as you're getting ready to start, you start having technical difficulties. And I'm the least person in the world who needs technical difficulties. Yes, but trust me, I'm actually I'm actually the worst at the technical stuff. I do okay once the mic able to communicate with you, and we can talk about issues and talk about stuff. I'm really comfortable and at home doing the network I have. I like how everything's set up. It's pretty simple until it's not simple, and and that's really so that uh, but what do you say, right? So I don't know. So I had a new background, Cheryl. I think the new background is gone. Um, so are you talking about this background that's on here now, or the other background that I had? So I'm not freezing up. The connection came and went, so I just saw that on my end too. I keep freezing up a bit, and I see that, and it's like the you know. So I'm freezing a bit. Man, everything looks, I do see where I am freezing up a little bit and such. So, oh, the living room one, yeah, I think that's gone now. But I could go back in and see if you're talking about that one, or that one, that little background there. Yeah, I don't think I'll use that background. So we'll see how that works. So I did change it up a little bit. Use that new back. I mean, like I said, I am the worst producer on the planet, the worst technical person on the planet when it comes to this. I figure it out really bad. So just please excuse the technical stuff. When it starts glitching, I mean, nothing really I can do. I've not noticed it glitching here in the last 2 or 3 minutes. So maybe that's worked through, and we'll see if we can do anything about that. So I was going to talk about some stuff. One thing I was going to talk about, and I'm not going to mention names or anything because person has not said they're going to run yet, and I'm going to respect an individual's right to announce on their own timeline. But me and some citizens, and some of you guys in the room here actually, went to a hey Tara, nice to see you. Not seen you on the show in a while. So I went to an open house yesterday of someone who is contemplating a run for post two commissioner, and in 26. So, and running for commissioner, it can be a daunting task. It can actually be, it's hard running for office, right? So there were several people in the room yesterday, and how hard a campaign can be on an individual. And thick skin when it comes to campaigning, because um, that freeze falls. You if someone feels vulnerable and they're a little bit touchy feely, I'll be frank with you. The political circuit might not be for you. You do have to be a little bit thick skinned to get in this arena, because personally, you can't take everything personally. Um, Campaigns are designed to be extreme. They're designed to draw attention, and sometimes things are exaggerated on a campaign somewhat, to get the maximum impact and get the attention of the electorate and the voters. And sometimes people take hits at you. They say things, and you've got to, as a candidate, defend yourself and defend your positions and such. And also, as a candidate, you've got to be able to read the room, okay, um, and know what's important, what is part of the heart of the community. And I'll tell you one thing that I heard in the room yesterday that still is something that tears at this community's heart, and it's that administrative courthouse complex. Um, it still tears at this community's heart, how it was done, the creation of the PFA, ignoring the voters' will when they voted down that bond issue in 2018, and how local government circumvented the will of the people, created this public facilities authority, issued these sketchy bonds, these revenue generating bonds, but they're really general obligation bonds that are backed by your tax dollars. And these public facility authorities are not supposed to exist to be able to to have your tax dollars back them. That's not the intent of them. And this local government found a loophole on how to do that, and by doing that, they ensured this community's indebtedness for generations. And in that room yesterday, that frustration was still very much alive, of what this community felt as it was happening, and how they feel now because it did happen. And I mean, and that's, when we talk about why there was a turnover in elected officials and on the local side in Rockdale County this past election cycle, in those decision making and budget making and such positions of that issue. And concern moving forward with that building being erected and it being a constant reminder to the citizens of Rockdale County how many more election cycles will that courthouse. And talking to the people, before understand and understood, past and present, the need for the courthouse to be upgraded or repairs to be done, for it to be modernized. This administrative building being built, and I know we're going to people say, well, it's not the majority of the problem. In the courthouse right now, people who are actively there, and they'll tell you that the courthouse side of this is getting the shade that this is an administrative complex project with a side of courthouse. And that's just the reality of things. And it's the reality of what happened to this community and why this community does not trust their local elected officials. And that's just the plain spoken truth of it. This community does not trust its elected local because of the eyesore and the constant reminder that this community will have. It will always be on your tax bill with your millage rate, because you're always going to have that extra 2%, 2 meals paying for this. And it's very impactful. And people know it, and they see it, and they just don't like it. And just yesterday's meeting with the folks in that room just reaffirmed the fact that people didn't like it in the past. They didn't like it now, and they're not going to like it in the future. And that's the reality of it. And people can, elected officials can say what they want and whatever, but the way that you remedy this is you have to show them that you want to do something different. And transparency is the way. You're going to have to be transparent, and you're going to have to do some give and take with that facility. Still yet, I mean, you're going to have to show some good faith with that facility, because if you don't, people who got elected in the past few years, their days may be numbered, because that thing took out Norman Wheeler when he bought the original land. That thing took out Oz Nesbitt and Sherry Washington. That thing could very well be something that takes out the 3 people that are sitting in those seats right now. It very well could. No, Ms. Russo, it's both. The people don't like it, and they can't afford it. When you talk to people, they just they might could have stomached the cost if it would have been done in a more upfront, behind back doors, and totally took the citizens' right to do the most expensive project that this county will ever do. The most tax dollars that will ever be spent by this community and this local government, in conjunction with our state local officials, took it out of the hands of the citizens. And one of the things that still bothers a lot of the citizens in this community, and including me, is you have the same bad characters or henchmen working for the county right now in high level positions. The same bad characters, the same henchmen that were behind making these bad decisions and encouraging this bad behavior. They're the individuals behind the scenes who are in charge right now. And that's what upsets me, and it upsets community. And people can get upset at me all they want when I say, that I would want change of leadership position myself. One of the main things that I ran on was there needed to be a change of leadership at the top of the organization I was running for. Within 45 days, I think we all know there was change of leadership at the top of the organization that I ran for, right? So we may have change of leadership in elected officials, but we don't have change of leadership in bureaucrats. And that's where the true decisions and where true government happens. It really is. And that's an issue that I have, right? And people go, Larry Cox, you're heartless. You just want to fire people. No, I do not want to just fire people, but sometimes people's time and lifespan in positions, they run their course. And when their course has run, then it's time to make change. And that's what I feel, right? Corliss, that's a, if either of the previous administration run, we will remember the courthouse. 100%. You will remember the courthouse, right? And Corliss, the other thing, right? As usual, they found a way around the citizens, get the PFA passed. Again, they found a way to levy taxes for bonds repayment. The governor's office said tax can't be levied to repay bonds. So, 100%, right? That kind of stuff happens. And when it happens, people feel like they were wronged. And this community, I'm just telling you, just from the energy in the room that I was with the people yesterday, the people in that room still feel the pain of what happened to them regarding that courthouse, that public facilities authority, and how they feel the local government and their state elected officials stabbed them in the back, did not look out after their best interest, and took their right away to decide if they wanted to spend we will never again get to make the decision of this kind of money in this community because we're maxed out. There is no credit to be had for generations. This is generational debt that we have done. This is generational debt that occurred that did not have to happen. This could have been done with SPLOST overage. I've talked about it a million times. People on the SPLOST committee now will even tell you, you talk to them off the record. Larry Cox was right. People made it sound like it was crazy back in the day, but yeah, they could have done it. We could have not had minimal debt. We could have bonded it, paid for it with SPLOST, 70, 80 million bucks. It could have happened, but that's not the decision the decision was taken away from you. You were not allowed to do it. Mary Boysworth, we will feel this pain for years. Hold on a second. Every meeting in the courthouse is mentioned in school tax, and that's 100%. Every single meeting. And then every single meeting, you get this false narrative. Okay. And before I was elected to the school board, I would say that it was a false narrative about this tax ratio with the Board of Education. So just point blank, guys, take the amount of taxes that you pay to the county, then add the credit that you get for the host, and it adds to more than the taxes that you pay the school board. Trust me, do it. Add the amount of taxes that your millage through the county, then add the host, because that's a tax also. You're paying a 1 cent sales tax on everything you purchase in Rockdale County. It is still a tax. You add that tax, you add that host, because it's a tax. It's not free. It's not money that came out of the air. It's not manna that came from God. When Moses and the Israelites escaped bondage. It's not manna. These are tax dollars that you, the citizens, are paying, a 1 cent tax levied against you. Add that 1 cent tax up, which is the host, and you add that millage tax that the county's charging you, and it comes up to more than what the Board of Education's tax is. Just do the simple math, and it's people being honest and telling the truth. So, the county, I heard they're going to take a rollback, and that's great. The Board of Education, a minimal 2.3% increase, but I hear the city is still going after a 17% tax increase. So it sounds like two of the silos, the entities in this county, learned a lesson, and they're not taxing the bejesus out of you. But the city didn't get the message, right? They didn't get the message. I want to answer a question here real quick. Do you agree that Janice and Tanya could have pulled open records requests concerning the courthouse and determined if they could have actually cleaned? I've said this in the past, and I'll say it again. It's too late to do anything now because you can see all the steel erected and everything that's going on. But before they took office in January, they could have decided not to move forward because not enough was done. Would it have cost us some money to do that and regroup and do the right thing? We could have done that then. We could have done that in January. You can't do it now. We might have had to pay some penalties for breaking contracts and such, but that could have been done then. Can't be done now, but it could have been done when they first take office. And this is where I go back to the bad actors and the bad characters, because the bad actors, they kept on and they encouraged the move forward. You can't do anything. You have to proceed down this path. And then you have bad actors run numbers to show you, and Alec came on the show last week, if he can be on here now, and he presented those numbers and everything. And then, like I said, I don't know where those numbers come from, the justification in any of those numbers, but a bad actor they're the ones that calculated the numbers. That's just the reality. Those numbers were calculated by a bad actor. Hold on 1 second, folks. Hey. Cox was out there and he was not happy about something. And I think he was getting ready to get into a scrap with his sister. And he would not have won that scrap. Seeing Tucker's I thought I should separate the forces before we had a scrap and a vet visit. So if you have pets, you know how that goes. But yeah, just going back to Avy's thing there. Avy, something we could have done back in the day, but not. Yeah, Cheryl, Snoopy's in the doghouse. That's right. Somebody is in the doghouse, but not in the doghouse as bad as it could have been. So we're good. But guys, I just believe it's too late to do anything about the nonsense. It's been committed. We're going to have hundreds of millions of dollars of debt. That's just reality. And a structure being built where a structure shouldn't have been built. And people will say, well, Larry, you're beating a dead horse. You talk about it all the time. Well, I can tell you what, as long as that structure is being built and it's there, I'm probably, if I do this show for 20 more years, probably at least once a month, I'm going to talk about it for 20 more years because it is just the most moronic, stupid thing that anyone has ever done. So Jake, can Rockdale County school system return to what they were? And I firmly believe we can return to the days of glory. we didn't get to where we have gotten overnight, and we're not going to be able to climb out of the trenches overnight either. But I believe we will see growth. We will see expansion in the school system, and it's just going to take a little bit of time to get there, because it took time to get where we are now. So the answer to that is yes. I believe we will be able to grow this system in a positive way. Ken Holmes was on a committee. I'm going to put up a comment by him. So there was not a single meeting that was discussed that was for the courthouse being built downtown. Even the kangaroo committee, stacked by members selected by Oz, was deadlocked. This was bulldozed through and against the wishes of the citizens. Yes. So, Charlotte, let me tell you what. I'm gonna something that piss people off, but that's okay. Rockdale County has never been a bond that they didn't refinance or not, right? If you are on the show, so those bonds that originally purchased the water authority years ago, they're not paid off. They've been refinanced and refinanced and refinanced, and the water authority is still paying those bonds, right? So what makes you think that the county is going to do in the past and refunds and never pay them off? Because that's the trajectory and the history of what they've done. You could, and Alex, if you're on here, you can chime in and comment about it. Is to just refinance bomb. And Costly Mill was refinanced, and that was other debt that was refinanced with Costly Mill. I don't think it was the water authority bonds, but you're right. Again, there's a debt that we incurred and then was refinanced and then refinanced again, and that's what the county does. They just refinance debt. We never pay debt off. We refinance debt. So I mean, and hopefully we stop doing that, right? Jacob is going to hold me to the increase, because his first child will be attending school next year, and like I said, let's improve those schools, and that's what we intend to do. Miss Russo, why didn't they do what before the primaries? Corliss, thank you. Who gets debt to pay off debt? It's still same debt, 100%. You do not, it's not paid off. So, that's what we're. I guess just going to that meeting yesterday got me a little. When I hear people talk about that building, and when I see it, it just bothers me. And I think you guys can tell this is something that bothers me. But, when I went to that meeting yesterday, it wasn't something that just bothered me. It bothered everybody in the room. You can still, that's a wound that is not healed. This is a community that has not healed. This is a community that has a fresh wound. The scars are still there, because this community is not ready to forget. Forgiving is not even in the picture. Forgetting is not even in the picture. This community wants some action to be done to actually right a wrong. And I'm not even certain if anything can be done to right that wrong right now. I mean, that righting that wrong is 7, 8 months past. Could have been done in January, can't be done now. Um, and that's something, us as taxpayers, we're going to have to continue paying for. And that is why the wound will never heal. It's because every November, you're going to have to cut that check. Every year when it comes time to pay those property taxes, you will be paying the piper. And that is what is a lot of, elected officials don't understand, is because because it gets cut open yearly. Every year it gets cut open. Charlotte, Alex and I said this for years. It's changing the character of Old Town. If you guys will never be the same after this project. It will change Old Town forever. Are we able to still on the SPLOST? They know. I've heard some people say, it's standstill. It's not. I don't really know. I mean, I do not know where they are with the garage. And where are we with? Are we still building that structure, tearing those buildings down? Asking, since this wound was torn wide open for a good group of people yesterday, as we, and not taking away from the person who was intending on running. It's just, whenever election cycle comes up here in Rockdale County and people start talking, just the reality of what happens. That wound gets torn. Go up in Old Town and they see that street being built. That wound gets reopened every time they see that building. So Bill Campbell answered it. So they are still going to build the structure, the parking garage, as they were. I'm assuming that's what your yes is, Bill. That's I'm assuming. So you can. So, I mean, you guys are, I'm reading what you guys are saying. You guys are making valid points. You're putting good comments out there. I mean, that's one thing I enjoy about this show. I enjoy your input as much as my input. And I think that's correct. If you guys wouldn't mind 1 second, I'm going to go and let Molly out of the room. So, Samantha, I believe they are still tearing down the old church. So it's just that we've got to look. I mean, we've got a debt that the county, with this project, and the unsettling part, like I say, this is debt that we should have just been able to decide if we wanted to do it. This was so much debt, it was not fair for three people to make that decision. And they'll say, well, we didn't. We had a PFA, your state representatives did all this. And reality is, three people manipulated the situation with the help of a bunch of bad actors, bad characters behind the of authority in this county right now, right? Manipulating the situation with the help of bad actors. That's the reality of what happened. And you know, this is the thing about this show and me, right? So you get this, right? This is who I who what you get with this show. You get a dose of reality, you get a dose of hard truth, and you get a dose of speak your mind with Larry Cox. Not only do I get to speak my mind in this chat, you see that the community gets to speak their mind. We might have to orchestrate a protest on the day that the Dodgers go to tear down those buildings. And Bill Campbell, the parking deck's moving forward, and that's exactly what I thought was going on. I've heard people say, well, at a standstill, not whatever, but that's not what I've been hearing from people in the know, that it's a go. And like I told you guys, when that structure became a yes and a point of no return, then the rest of this stuff is happening too. It's just happening. And then the sad thing, it's happening and you don't want it to happen. And that's why the wound will never heal, because you'll go see these things all the time. And then November, it comes time to cut that check. And that wound gets open, wide open, one more time. When you go to write that check and pay that tax bill, that wound becomes fresh again. And here, that's watching the show, or is going to watch the rerun of this show, who can't say that when they write that check, the first thing they think about is that courthouse. And it is. First thing they think about, that courthouse. This is costing me. If only they wouldn't have done this. Ms. Russo, our administration, I like how you like the word bad actors and characters better. I think you have people who have their own will and intentions, and they push them on you, and their will and intention may not be the best thing for you. And that's reality. And I think as members of this community, as people who live here and pay taxes here, we don't see what is being done to us as being in our best interest. And that's the reality. Cheryl, it's nauseating. Yeah. I mean, something doesn't necessarily mean it's a good idea. I've heard that a times, right? Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. And it doesn't mean that it's a good idea. Right? So you got a couple of people who lost elections last year and come back down to, and it's that courthouse. And you still got that courthouse. So I'm just saying, 28 next year, 26 rolls around, you have an election, 28 rolls around, we'll have to see what happens. Let's see what the voters think, because that's the reality. It's what and we all voted for change, but did we get the change we wanted? Avy Garden, you know who the bad actors are, and I think most of the people in this community know who the bad actors are. And to keep myself from being sued, it's just a blanket bad actors. And I'll talk to people in private about who I think the bad actors are, but I don't think I'm going to say it on the show and on the air. Just the reality of it, right? It's just, disheartening is all I can say. But we shall live to fight another day, right? We shall live to fight another day. And this is what I say about elections. If you don't like the results of one, you got another to change the results. If you don't like the results of an election, there's another election coming down the road, and you can change the results of that election. So, guys, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I have been on my soapbox long enough today. I really appreciate all the comments that you guys made tonight. I appreciate you guys allowing me to come on and rant for this, because this has been a Larry ranting show, right? I don't do this often anymore. I don't do this type of show, this time of ranting. But sometimes I just got to get things off my mind, and this is a great place to speak my mind, because it's a safe place, and I know you guys understand. So again, for joining me tonight, and everybody who's going to watch the show in the future, and some of you are going to watch the show and know you're the bad characters and actors I was speaking about. Yes, you are as bad as I think you are, and I do hope you quit. So that's all I got to say, and good night. And I can't wait to be here next week, and I hope to see each and every one of you. Thank you, and good night.